Hi, first grade. It is time for some math. We are going to talk a little bit more about fractions again today. So if we remember from the other day, fractions is when we show an equal part of a whole. So a whole is like one whole thing, right? It's all the parts together. And then a fraction is a piece of that whole, a piece of that part. So one way we can show a fraction is by showing something in halves, which is two equal parts. Another way that we can show a fraction is showing something in fourths. And sometimes we might see the word quarters. Quarter means fourth because there's 4 quarters in a dollar. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 pieces that make that one whole dollar. So I drew 2 lines, kind of like 2 halves, to chop my circle up into fourths. And a fourth shows 4 equal parts. When we see it written like an actual fraction number, it's 1/4 because one piece of that out of 1, 2, 3, 4 altogether. And we might see the words 1/4 or 1/4. So let's look at fourths a little more. 1/4 or 1/4. Just like with when we make halves, if we're sharing, we want it to be equal, right? If I have one cookie and I break it in half and I share it with you, I want your piece of the cookie and my piece of the cookie to be the same size so that it's fair. So if I had a cookie and I wanted to share it and there were 4 of us and I broke it in half and then I broke those halves in half again so I could have 4 pieces, I would want all the pieces to be kind of the same size so that it's fair. So if I broke my cookie in half like this, and then I broke it in half again like that, is that going to be fair? Are those 4 equal pieces? No, because these 2 friends would have a really small cookie, and these 2 friends would have a big piece of cookie. So we want to make sure that when we're making fourths, when we're drawing the lines, sometimes you might see this word partitioning. Partitioning means to put something into parts because it has that word parts in it. I think your worksheet on Seesaw says partition. Partition just means chop it up, make lines. But when we partition it, when we make lines and make fourths, we want them to be equal. So maybe now I have a nice chocolate brownie I want to share with 4 friends. So I'm going to cut it in half and I'm going to try, let me try again. I want to make a nice equal half. And then I'm going to cut that half in half. And I'm trying to make, those are much better than these ones, right? As equal as possible. What about this one? Can you draw a pretend line with your finger? How would you cut this one and make it equal? Into 4 pieces, into fourths. Okay, you can pause if you need more time. I think I'm going to cut it like this. I'm going to go from this vertex, this corner here, straight down, and then from that one, straight across. I'm trying my best. It's kind of hard to write like this. So I tried to make 4 equal parts. I cut it into fourths. Another way that we might show fourths is by coloring 1/4. When we color 1/4 of something, it just means that out of 4 altogether, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to shade in 1, and that would show 1/4. Just like before when we were doing halves, 1/2, and we were coloring in half of it, right? So now we're coloring in 1/4. 1/4 is half of a half, which is kind of silly. So I colored in 1/4 of it. We also might have 4 things all together, and I want to color 1/4 of these circles blue. So I have 4 all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to color 1/4 of them. So I'm just going to color 1 of them out of 4 altogether. That's what 1/4 means. 1 out of 4 altogether. Okay, so you have some activities on Seesaw where you need to circle and pick which shapes are showing fourths and which are not. You need to color in 1/4 of some of the shapes, and then I have a sort where you need to tell which ones are showing fourths and which ones are showing halves. So I can't wait to see all the hard work that you do first grade. Great job!